everybody. I am Rebecca Rizzo, Director of Membership for the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce. You are tuning in to your chamber today, and I am with...
Hi, I'm Diana Soto with the Chamber. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Please make sure that you stick around after our hearing from our member, as we have a few quick updates for you. Now we're going to hear from Sean Daigle with Memoria Films. Thank you, everyone, for coming back. Rebecca and I are sitting here with our new member, Sean Daigle with Memorial Films, and he is going to tell us a little bit more about his product. We are so excited to share this information with you. It's so heartfelt, and I'm not even going to attempt to tell you a little bit about it. He's just going to jump right into it. Sean?
Yeah, thanks so much, Diana. Yeah, again, my name's Sean with Memoria Films. Very excited to introduce this service to the Valley and ultimately, I think, to the nation and the world. So a little bit about what I do. I create personal video biographies. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's me going to individuals and recording, professionally filming their life story. And really, in a sense, I take that life story, weave in photos and music, and build a film for that person to then give to their family, kind of as a living legacy, as you will. So that's really the service in a nutshell. I think you can understand how valuable it's going to be to a lot of the residents here in the Coachella Valley, and really anybody who, families who are witnessing loved ones maybe losing their memories, or really anybody who wants to leave their legacy in the form of stories with their family. I can't think of a better way to do that than through powerful video.
I imagine that this filming or the capturing of this documentary, if you will, happens over a period of time. I can't imagine that it happens in just one sit-down session. Can you talk a little bit about how you capture the memories and the emotion and put that into film?
Yeah, so the process is actually pretty simple, and contrary to what you might think, we actually do film just over the course of one day. But there's a lot of preparation that goes into that to sort of make sure that we can get it in one day, because a lot of the people that we're dealing with, they're much older. They can't do 2-3 days worth of filming, So what we do is start with just a meet and greet. So I'll come to a client and just sit down with them. No camera gear, no lights, nothing. Just let's have coffee together, and I just want to hear your story. So really just connecting on a personal level. And that gets them just a little more comfortable with me, so that by the time I do come around with my cameras, they're just having a conversation with me, and the cameras just happen to be rolling in the background. So yeah, we'll talk about their stories. I'll get a kind of feel for really the arc of their life, because that's what we're trying to do, is kind of condense. It's so difficult, but take someone's life and really condense it into 60, 90 minutes. It's a lot of work. So and then there's a lot of preparation with just photos that they've got that will help supplement, those really important stories from their life. In terms of the actual filming, I just sit down with them and ask them, a series of questions, starting with your childhood. Tell me about the city you grew up in, or your neighborhood, or the house. What were your parents like? What was it like with your siblings? What kind of responsibilities did you have growing up? And just working our way all the way through their life, school age and adult life. Obviously, if they've married or had a significant other, their children, their grandchildren. I mean, we just talk about everything. And then, by the end of it, we've got all these stories and all these photos, so more of the work, honestly, is in the preparation, the organization of all those assets. And I mean, just kind of cut to the chase, I think that's what Memoria Films does really well, is to take all of these things that we have at our disposal. Many of us have boxes full of photos in our garage that just go untouched for years, because it's so much work to just pull out hundreds, if not thousands, of photos and just look at them. Many of them, we have no context for what's actually in that photo. We don't know the story behind that photo. And so to be able to hear, your grandma or grandpa talking about that photo, and what's happening in that photo, and then to sort of supplement it and put it all together in a really consumable way, we're much more likely to sit down and watch a 30 or 60-minute film, even if it's once a year, than we are to just dig out that box of photos or film reels, which people have, and to actually consume that. So I think we're really bringing storytelling and legacy to the forefront and making it easy to digest and to remember our loved ones by.
Yep. And you bring up a good point about photos. I'm at my age. I always say that we're the lucky generation because growing up, we had a lot of things traditional and still young enough to understand this huge transition into technology and so on. So I remember going to the local store to develop Kodak film, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of the physical pictures and so on. And I do have boxes of photos. And then I think about the last 10 years of my life or the last, 15 years where most of my photos are on my telephone.
Yeah.
And they seem to be so disposable because you can just take a snapshot of anything and everything at any given time. But what do you really do with it? Many times, do you download it? Do you save it? We switch out phones every couple of years. Half of them are lost, data, so on. So this is great. I think it becomes more important, in my opinion, as time goes on, because we're not printing those photos and we don't have anything tangible. Where does that go? The legacies of our grandparents are so important. Our legacies that we're going to leave to our families are even that much more important because I feel like we're not leaving that paper trail, and that's where I feel that a service like this is much more important. Now you talk about a certain age group that we might be interested in recording, right? For obviously historical reasons and so on. But I imagine maybe someone, and these are hard conversations, but maybe someone with a terminal illness, maybe someone who just wants to start to document their family history at a different age point. Is that something that you would work with as well? Just doing it over a period of time?
Absolutely. Yeah. Right now we are targeting more just, hey, let's sit down for one session and just tell the arc story of your life. But I'm already dreaming up new ways to incorporate, not even just for, the elderly, but even people in my generation, because, how do we effectively document, our memories along the way? Because, I think to your point about the accessibility of photos, it's kind of like this great lie that now that everything's gone digital, everything's more accessible. Well, the problem is now that everything's gone digital, we have like more photos, thousands of photos. I mean, we can look at our phone and we see 20, basically duplicate images, right? So now you've got sometimes tens of thousands of photos. I mean, at 31, I know I've got in that range. I can't imagine by the time I'm 40 or 50. Yeah, right. My kids are not going to sit there and look through. They've got their own photos that they're digging through. So it's kind of just sifting through. And to your point, even again back to the Kodaks, I think there was really some intentionality behind when photos were taken and really capturing the special moments. I mean, we have friends who've got a Polaroid, and it's like $1 a pop. For one of those. And so there's a little more. We got to frame it right. We got to. There's more thought put into every single photo that's taken. So I think in some senses, the digital age is really, it has brought more accessibility and we capture those memories, more frequently. But, and I know I'm kind of bunny trailing here, but there's just so many things to talk about. I think, where we're at as a culture is a lot of the times even our photo taking, because of the nature of social media, we are taking those photos for the consumption of others. And Memoria Films is completely countercultural in that sense, where no, we are taking your memories and we are preserving them for your family. If nobody else ever sees this film, except you and your family once a year or once every 2 years, like, we will have done our job well. So we're not out to go get a huge social media following or promote. I mean, we use clips to promote the business, sure, but at the end of the day, I'm not putting up 90 minutes of Sue Singer because that's not for them. It's for Sue's grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and generations from now, hopefully we'll be watching this video. So I hope that the intent behind what we're doing is kind of cuts through all of the noise, and people realize, like, yeah, he's got a point. We really need to think about how we're leaving behind all of this stuff that we think we're accumulating along the way, our Instagram stories and our Facebook stories. Like, we might think that our kids and our grandkids are going to have this at their fingertips, but in reality, it's probably a lie.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I do like, I do agree wholeheartedly when Sue, we're for the context of this conversation, when she tells her story, right? It's the story the way she knows it, the way she wants it to be delivered, the way she wants it to be told. You know, I think about my family stories, my husband's family stories, and depends on who you talk to and their version of what they remember, or whether they want to add a little bit more seasoning to it, it changes. And what happens is that in generation to generation, we probably understand the core story, maybe how we immigrated here, maybe how we developed the family business, whatever the case may be, but it changes. And in a product like this, the story is told from one person, and it will be repeated generation after generation the same way. And it's the same story that's delivered with the same
you really have control over the narrative of your life. Yeah, which you would want, right? You would want people to remember your stories the way you would want them told. So
agree. Well, I do know that we do have a 60-second clip just to give our audience an idea, a flavor of what this product is, and we'll go ahead and insert that. Are there any last thoughts or any last comments that you would like to share with the group?
Yeah, I think most people are going to want to know kind of, how much a film would go for and how long. So you can see all of the options on memoriafilms.com, but I'll give you kind of the just here since you're here watching this. So our pricing starts at $1,500, and that basically includes an interview with your loved one. So we can do an individual, or we can do a couple, like grandma and grandpa, right, for instance. And I would sit with them and interview them for several hours and just give you the footage. So at worst case scenario, you just have, hours worth of stories that your parents or grandparents are telling at the $1,500 price point. And then we've got 30, 60, and 90-minute films. And the most expensive option in that range would be a couple's film at 90 minutes, and that is $7,000. Now you might think, well, that's a high price point to stomach. But really, when you think about what we spend our money on, we'll go straight to even like a funeral, for example, okay? Which I know it's morbid. Like you said, Diane, it's a tough conversation to have, but we have to have these conversations. The average funeral in California costs $12,000. Correct. Most of which is spent on a casket, right? Which is going to go in the ground. I know it sounds sad, but this is the fact. Like, this is just objective reality, right? And what you're investing in a film is literally the preservation of the legacy of your loved ones. So to take one person's funeral at $12,000 and preserving the legacy of both of your grandparents for $7,000 at the high end, 90 minutes. If you want to go lower, then it's even less. But I think it's fair pricing, and we offer payment plans up to a year long, where we can really break it down into more digestible. And I would honestly encourage anybody who's even thinking about it, and maybe the price point is out of reach, to consider even doing like crowdfunding. Anybody who knows their grandparents and knows their stories, like, hey, can you pitch in $20 here, $30? Like, it all adds up. And even if you don't get the whole thing paid for, if you're able to just chip away at it, it's worth it. I guarantee you it's worth it. So, that would be my encouragement. And especially, I want to speak to those who maybe right now are experiencing, like, they're watching mom and dad or grandparents, starting to lose their memories. It's a very scary place to be. And, we could spend an entire hour talking about Alzheimer's and the damaging effects that it does, not just on the mind, but just on a family, and to document their memories before they're gone. You could get in the door with the raw footage with just an interview, and we can take that interview even years down the road and turn it into a film. So that's a great option too for anybody who just, like, maybe there's a sense of urgency, but they don't have enough to really afford like a signature film at this moment. That would be a great option. So anyway, all the details are there at memoriafilms.com. There's a pricing page, and you can see all the packages broken down and the payment plans. So I would encourage anybody who's interested to take a look.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for this great information and introducing us to a great tool to preserving family legacy. I can't wait to learn more, and definitely something that we would be, just to give you an idea, the Soto family reunion was over 200 cousins.
Oh my gosh.
So we're talking my husband's grandparents, 7 siblings, and then from there. So you're not even talking third and fourth cousins. You're talking almost immediate cousins. So
I'm talking to you, Diana, right now. You need to sign up for this.
and all of them,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. And thank you for supporting the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
My name is Sun Hyung, but when I came to America, is Sue. My father was a tailor, very conservative, very private. My mom was full-time mother at home. We lived in the front of the church building. It was almost like a cafe every Sunday. Everybody come to our house first. And my mom was a wonderful host for anyone who came to our house.
Thank you so much, Sean. That was awesome. I love that you have that service available for everybody. Now, there's a couple things I want all of you guys to know that's going on. We actually have today, we have GCV Educates that's actually presenting Google, or I should say Google's presenting. So please make sure you RSVP for that so you can get your link. We also, on Friday, we have 2 events, 2 networking opportunities for you, which is we have our lunch bunch, both of virtual, by the way. We have our lunch bunch at 11:30 to 1 o'clock on Friday. And then from 4 to 5 on Friday, we actually have a virtual mixer. We also have some great things coming up next week as well. I know we have our 3-day weekend. I hope all of you guys are safe and shop local. But we do have an Alpha Media Digital Cafe that's coming up next week. So please make sure you check our calendar of events.
Thank you, Rebecca, for those updates. And I just have one quick reminder that the Recreation District is offering tutor services for children ages or kindergarten through 6th grade. And you can reach out to them at mydesertdistrict.com. There is a $75 a week charge for this service, and it is at all of their locations. So please give them a call. They do assist with distance learning. They do assist with all of the curriculum that your child has on their plate for their school, whichever school that may be. And again, the service is offered for kindergarten through 6th grade. And that is all I have for today.
And this was your chamber today.